What's up, everybody? Doc Dark 1985. There's levels to this. Alright, so check this out. Single player games. Single player games are very, very important. Yesterday, I just finished playing Crysis, the original Crysis. Literally just finished beating the final boss and relived the whole story in my head of the game. And it's legitimately a movie, right? So these single player games that we play and that we enjoy are very important. The multiplayer games are awesome, right? Those are definitely needed as well. But there's something about a good single player game that has a good story, good gameplay that'll make you want to finish the story. See, that's the key, right? Some of these games you play and you play halfway through, some of them not even halfway through, and you're just bored. You don't want to keep playing. Okay? Some of these games are too long, right? Some of these games have too much stuff to do. I know, right? It sounds crazy. They just have too much stuff to do. Now, when you play a game, you can play it however you want. Obviously, you're the one that paid money for that game. But sometimes some of these games have so many side quests or so many different things that you can do that you forget what the main mission is and you don't even play that. But the real beauty of a single player game is when that story is good enough to make you, if it is a game that has different options, that the story is good enough that it makes you want to stick to the actual story. Or maybe the side options that you do is to enhance your experience with the main story, right? And then you have games that don't have any deviation. They're just a first person, not first person. They're just a single player game that it's all story driven and it's pretty much one event after another that you play through. So the advantages of a single player game or games like this, like Crysis for instance, it's 2019, right? And if I'm not mistaken, that game is from 2004. It's a pretty old game. Now, obviously it's a PC game, so it has aged tremendously well. Let me tell you, this game has aged tremendously well. Okay, it looks phenomenal, right? If you could run it, it looks phenomenal. It plays phenomenal. Now, because it's an old school shooter, the controls are a little clunky. Like this, like aiming down sight is the right bumper instead of the left trigger, like most games nowadays. But but you get over that pretty quick as you play the game. But here's the deal: we have these multiplayer games. We have games that are meant for us to compete against other players and interact against other human players, right? And I'm just afraid that these types of games are gonna take over and it's gonna kill the single player experience. I hope it doesn't. And when I look at games like Horizon Zero Dawn, The Witcher 3, right? Gears of War, 4, Gears 5, it looks like maybe it's not. Maybe they're not gonna kill the the single player experience. Red Dead Redemption 2, right? So I pray that that stays intact in our culture because single player video games are needed. Now, when I say single player, right, and I mentioned Red Dead Redemption 2 does have a multiplayer version, right? Same with actually Crysis. Crysis actually has a multiplayer version. But what I mean is that mode, that single player mode, where hopefully game developers continue to input as much or even more into that single player aspect of the game than they do the multiplayer aspect. And the same way that there's games out there that are just strictly multiplayer, don't even have a single player aspect, it's okay if we have games that are strictly single player and don't have our multiplayer aspect, right? That's perfectly fine. So my wish is that game developers continue to make these single player experience because it's extremely important that we continue to have. For me, when I play a single player game, it's like watching a movie, except I get to star in it. And if the game is good and the story is good and the gameplay is good, I believe I'm that character. Let me tell you, yesterday I had a nano suit on. I don't care what anybody says. I was wearing a nano suit. That's neither here or there. But yeah, let's not get rid of these single player games. And the only way we're not gonna get rid of them is if we support them, guys. So when you see a developer dropping a game, let's go out there and let's support the single player games. Dark 1985, there's levels to this. And there's different levels to how good a game is, especially in that single player mode. Get yourself a good game, get immersed in it, and you won't forget its story. We out. Peace.